Christmas morning. I stare at my phone screen reading the text from my father for the third time. Thanks for existing. Don't come. 4 words that shatter everything I believed about family. I've been living with my sister Amanda for 8 months, covering every expense while she gets back on her feet. The rent, groceries, utilities, even her car payment. Last night at Christmas Eve dinner, I watched her laugh with our parents playing the perfect daughter. Now I know why I wasn't invited to Christmas dinner. Amanda told them I was just squatting. My name is Dave, and 8 months ago I thought I was doing the right thing. My sister Amanda called me at 11:30 on a Tuesday night. Her voice cracking through sobs that sounded like they'd been building for hours. Her boyfriend Marcus had vanished 3 days earlier, taking her credit cards and leaving behind a mountain of debt that made my stomach turn when she finally confessed the numbers. "Dave, I'm going to lose everything," she whispered through the phone. "The eviction notice came today. I have 72 hours. I was sitting in my comfortable 1-bedroom apartment in downtown Denver, the place I'd worked my tail off to afford as a software engineer at TechFlow Solutions. The rent was manageable, the view was decent, and for the first time in my 28 years, I felt like I'd built something stable. But Amanda was my sister. Family doesn't abandon family. "How much do you need?" I asked already, mentally calculating my savings. It's not just the back rent, Dave, it's everything. The utilities, the car payment, groceries. I can't even afford gas to get to job interviews. The plan seemed straightforward when we discussed it. I'd move into Amanda's 2-bedroom place in Lakewood temporarily. The rent was $1,500 a month, which was actually cheaper than my downtown apartment. Amanda would focus on finding work while I covered expenses for 3 months, maybe 4 at most. She'd rebuild her credit, save some money, and I'd eventually move back out once she was stable. That was in April. By December, I'd paid her $1,500 rent 8 times. The $400 utility bills came and went without Amanda contributing a single penny. Grocery shopping became my responsibility when Amanda claimed she was too stressed to meal plan properly. I watched my bank account drain at an alarming rate as I spent $600 monthly, feeding both of us, plus covering her $300 car payment, because reliable transportation was essential for job searching. Amanda's job search became a theatrical performance I watched with growing unease. She'd dress professionally for interviews that allegedly went really well, then return home with elaborate stories about employers who were really impressed, but needed a few more days to make their final decision. Those decisions never materialized into actual employment. Meanwhile, she enrolled in online courses that would enhance her skill set. A social media marketing certification that she abandoned after 2 weeks. A graphic design program that gathered digital dust after the first module. Each new educational venture came with its own expenses that somehow became my responsibility. The warning signs multiplied like red flags in a hurricane. But I ignored them because Amanda was family. She ordered DoorDash 3 times a week while claiming she was too depressed to cook. New clothes appeared in her closet for networking events that I never heard details about afterward. Her social life seemed remarkably active for someone drowning in financial despair. My own life contracted around Amanda's needs. I stopped going out with friends because every dollar mattered. My dating life disappeared entirely because bringing someone home meant navigating Amanda's emotional crises. I turned down a work trip to Seattle that could have advanced my career because Amanda couldn't handle being alone right now. The worst part was watching my relationship with our parents deteriorate without understanding why. During Thanksgiving dinner, our mother Sarah made pointed comments about young adults who need to learn independence. Our father Robert asked pointed questions about my living situation, with a tone that suggested disapproval. I assumed they were worried about my finances, or concerned that I was enabling Amanda somehow. Dave's been so generous, Amanda would say when they asked about her situation. I don't know what I'd do without him. But something in their expressions suggested they weren't hearing the same story I was living. When I tried to explain how temporary the arrangement was, how Amanda was actively job searching and rebuilding her life, their polite nods felt forced. They'd exchange glances that I couldn't interpret. After Thanksgiving, Amanda returned from a private conversation with our parents looking oddly satisfied. She claimed they'd discussed holiday plans, and that everyone understood the situation better now. I asked if they'd mentioned anything about Christmas dinner, but Amanda just shrugged and said she thought it would be a smaller gathering this year. Last night, Christmas Eve, Amanda left for dinner at our parents' house around 5 o'clock. I wasn't invited, which stung, but Amanda explained that our mother wanted intimate family time and thought having me there might make the conversation too complicated. I spent Christmas Eve alone in an apartment I was paying for eating leftovers, while Amanda enjoyed our mother's famous prime rib and our father's terrible Christmas jokes. She returned around 10:30, glowing with satisfaction and carrying leftovers that she didn't offer to share. How was dinner? I asked, hoping to hear about our parents, and maybe understand why I'd been excluded. Fine, she said, already heading toward her bedroom. Mom and Dad are doing well. They asked about you. What did they say? Amanda paused at her bedroom door, and something in her expression shifted. They said they're disappointed in you, Dave. They think you're taking advantage of my kindness living here rent-free while I struggle. They're concerned about your character. The words hit me like ice water. Living rent-free, I'd been paying every single bill for 8 months. I'd sacrificed my own apartment, my savings, my social life, and apparently my relationship with our parents to help Amanda get back on her feet. Did you tell them I pay the rent? I asked carefully. I told them the truth about our arrangement. Amanda said, disappearing into her bedroom before I could ask what truth she meant. I spent Christmas Eve lying awake, trying to understand how my generosity had been transformed into freeloading in our parents' eyes. The cruel irony twisted in my stomach like a knife. While I'd been sacrificing everything to help Amanda, she'd apparently been portraying me as the problem. Now, staring at my father's text on Christmas morning, the puzzle pieces fall into place with devastating clarity. Thanks for existing. Don't come. 4 words that represent months of Amanda's manipulation finally bearing fruit. She's turned our parents against me while I've been funding her entire existence. The betrayal cuts deeper than any financial loss. This isn't just about money anymore. This is about a sister who weaponized my love for family and turned it into a weapon against my own heart. Sleep becomes impossible after that text message. I pace around the apartment I've been paying for my mind, racing through months of subtle manipulations that suddenly make perfect sense. By 6 in the morning, I can't stand the uncertainty anymore. I need to understand exactly what Amanda has told our parents. I drive the familiar route to our childhood home in Highlands Ranch, my hands gripping the steering wheel as I rehearse explanations that sound increasingly desperate in my head. How do you prove you're not a deadbeat when someone you trust has been systematically destroying your reputation? Amanda's silver Honda Civic sits in the driveway when I arrive, which surprises me. It's barely 7 in the morning on Christmas, but apparently she's already here spinning whatever narrative fits her agenda. I park across the street and debate my approach. Barging in seems aggressive, but I need to hear what's being said about me. My parents still keep a spare key under the ceramic frog near the back patio, a security habit they've maintained since my childhood. I slip inside through the kitchen door, hearing voices from the living room. Amanda's voice carries that distinctive tremor that signals tears the same tone she used when Marcus left her. I just don't know what to do anymore, she says, and I can picture her dabbing her eyes with tissue. He gets so angry when I ask about rent. Yesterday he told me that families should support each other unconditionally, and I shouldn't question his contributions. My blood turns to ice. I've never said those words. I've never gotten angry about rent because I've been paying all of it. Honey, you've been more than patient. Our mother Sarah responds, her voice tight with frustration. 8 months is far too long for a grown man to live rent-free while you struggle. Rent-free. The words echo in my mind like a death sentence. Amanda has convinced them I'm not paying anything. I keep telling myself he's my brother and he needs help. Amanda continues, her voice breaking convincingly. But Dave brings different women over constantly, and they're so loud. Last week there were beer bottles everywhere, and I had to clean up after some party he threw, while I was at a job interview. The lies cascade like an avalanche. I haven't brought anyone over in months. I don't even drink beer, and I certainly haven't thrown any parties. Amanda knows this, but she's creating a fictional version of me that justifies her victimhood. Show them the messages. Our father Robert suggests, his voice, carrying that cold disappointment I heard in his text. I don't want to embarrass him more than necessary, Amanda says, but I hear her phone screen lighting up. But here, look at this conversation from last week. I creep closer to the living room doorway, staying hidden behind the kitchen wall. Through the gap, I can see Amanda showing our parents her phone screen. See, he admits right here that he's been living like a king, and that I should be grateful for his company. And here, where I asked about the utility bill, he says I'm being ridiculous and ungrateful for expecting help. Our mother gasps audibly. Amanda, this is emotional abuse. He's manipulating you into feeling guilty for asking for basic respect in your own home. I want to rush into the room and demand to see those messages because I know they're fabricated. But Amanda has had months to craft this narrative, and I'm walking into a conversation where I'm already the villain. The worst part is how he acts like he's doing me a favor. Amanda says, her voice dropping to a wounded whisper. When I brought up splitting grocery costs, he laughed and said I should be paying him for teaching me financial responsibility. It's like living with someone who thinks I owe him for existing. The specific details of her lies are breathtaking. She's not just claiming I don't pay rent. She's created an entire personality for me that's cruel and manipulative. Every kindness I've shown, every expense I've covered, every sacrifice I've made has been twisted into evidence of my selfishness. We should call the police, our father says firmly. Have him removed as a trespasser. Amanda shouldn't have to live in fear in her own home. I'm scared to confront him directly, Amanda admits. Dave has such a temper lately. Sometimes when I ask about money, he gets this look in his eyes that frightens me. My hands shake with rage and disbelief. A temper I'm one of the most even-tempered people anyone knows. I've never raised my voice to Amanda, never shown anything but patience and generosity. She's not just lying about facts. She's inventing character traits that don't exist. You know what really hurts. Amanda continues, building toward what sounds like a rehearsed climax. I love my brother. I want to help him get his life together. But I can't enable this behavior anymore. Sometimes tough love means setting boundaries, even when it breaks your heart. The manipulation is masterful. She's positioned herself as the wise, patient sister who's been pushed beyond her limits by my unreasonable behavior. Our parents are hearing about a Dave who doesn't exist, a version of me that's selfish, aggressive, and parasitic. We raised him better than this, our mother says, her voice thick with disappointment. I don't understand how Dave became so entitled. Maybe it's time for an intervention, our father suggests. We can't enable this behavior by staying silent. I've tried talking to him, Amanda says, but every conversation becomes an argument. He accuses me of being ungrateful and reminds me that I'd be homeless without him. It's like he thinks saving me from eviction gives him the right to treat me however he wants. That final lie cuts the deepest because it contains a grain of truth wrapped in poison. I did save her from eviction, but not because I wanted power over her. I did it because she's my sister and I love her. Amanda has taken my greatest act of generosity and transformed it into evidence of my cruelty. I retreat to my car, my entire body trembling with a mixture of fury and heartbreak. The sister I sacrificed everything to help has spent months systematically destroying my relationship with our parents. She's created a fictional version of events where she's the victim and I'm the predator. Driving back to the apartment, I realized that confronting Amanda directly would be pointless. She's had months to perfect her story, create fake evidence, and establish herself as the victim. If I challenge her now, it'll just become more proof of my temper and manipulative behavior. But Amanda has made one crucial mistake. She's been so focused on playing victim that she's forgotten I'm not the naive brother who moved in 8 months ago. I'm a software engineer with excellent research skills, access to documentation, and a growing understanding of exactly how deep her deception runs. If Amanda wants to play games with the truth, I'll show her what happens when someone with my technical abilities decides to investigate. Instead of confronting Amanda with accusations she's already prepared to deflect, I decide to treat this like debugging code. Every lie has a paper trail, and every deception creates inconsistencies that can be tracked and documented. I spend the rest of Christmas Day methodically building a case that's airtight and undeniable. My bank statements tell the first part of the story. 8 months of $1,500 rent payments all made from my account to the property management company. $400 utility payments every single month traced directly to Colorado Springs Electric and Mountain States Gas. Grocery receipts from King's Super Safeway and Whole Foods totaling over $6,000 since April. Car payments to Honda Financial Services. $300 monthly for a vehicle I don't even drive. The documentation is overwhelming in my favor. But as I dig deeper into Amanda's online presence, I discover something far more disturbing than simple lies about rent. Using techniques I've learned through my cybersecurity training at work, I start investigating Amanda's social media accounts. Her main Facebook and Instagram profiles show the expected content job search updates, motivational quotes about overcoming hardship, and photos that carefully avoid showing any signs of prosperity. But people who run elaborate deceptions often need multiple identities to manage their schemes. A reverse image search on one of Amanda's profile photos leads me to a completely different set of accounts under the name Mandy Coleman. The email address associated with these accounts uses a different birth year, but the same basic pattern as Amanda's legitimate accounts. The Mandy Coleman profiles reveal a shocking secondary life. She's been running GoFundMe campaigns for various fabricated emergencies. The first one, launched in June, claims she needs $3,000 for her mother's unexpected cancer treatment. The campaign description is heartbreaking: a devoted daughter watching her mother battle illness while struggling financially herself. Our mother is perfectly healthy. She had her annual physical in September and bragged about her excellent test results. Amanda raised $3,100 from sympathetic strangers who believed they were helping a cancer patient's family. The second campaign, started in August, requests $2,500 for emergency surgery for her dog Bella after a supposed accident. The photos show a golden retriever with a bandaged leg looking appropriately pathetic. Amanda doesn't own a dog. She's allergic and has been since childhood. This campaign raised $2,200 from animal lovers who thought they were saving a pet's life. Amanda used stock photos and fake veterinary bills to create a completely fictional emergency. The third campaign launched in October, asking for $1,500 to replace her laptop after a break-in at her apartment. She claims the laptop contained years of freelance work and school projects that were irreplaceable. Her current laptop sits 3 feet from me, working perfectly. This campaign raised $1,800. The total from her fraud campaigns exceeds $7,000. While I've been draining my savings to support her, Amanda has been scamming strangers for thousands of additional dollars she's hidden from everyone. But the rabbit hole goes deeper. Employment records show Amanda has been collecting unemployment benefits since May, claiming she's actively seeking work while unable to find suitable positions. To maintain these benefits, she needs to apply for jobs and attend interviews, but she also needs to ensure she doesn't actually get hired. I find email drafts in her account that reveal her strategy. After each interview she attends, Amanda sends follow-up emails designed to sabotage her chances. Professional opportunities become exercises in self-sabotage, ensuring continued benefit payments while maintaining the illusion of effort. One email to a marketing company reads, "Thank you for the interview yesterday. I should mention that I'll need several days off monthly for personal issues, and I'm not comfortable with your company's client base. Also, the salary you mentioned seems low for someone with my qualifications." Another email to a customer service position states, "I appreciate the opportunity to interview, but I have concerns about your workplace culture. The office seemed too informal, and I noticed several violations of professional dress codes. I'll need to think carefully about whether this environment aligns with my standards." These aren't the emails of someone genuinely seeking employment. They're the carefully crafted rejections of someone gaming the system while collecting benefits meant for people actually struggling to find work. The most damaging discovery comes when I access Amanda's financial records through a password manager she forgot she'd logged into on my computer. She has a savings account at a different bank that I never knew existed. The current balance is $18,400. Every penny I've given her for rent, utilities, groceries, and car payments has been deposited into this secret account. Amanda isn't broke. She's been systematically stealing from me while building a substantial nest egg through fraud and manipulation. But Amanda's planning goes beyond simple theft. Hidden in her email drafts, I find correspondence with a lawyer named Patricia Valdez about filing a restraining order. The draft petition claims I've been increasingly volatile and threatening, and that Amanda fears for her safety due to my unpredictable behavior and verbal abuse. The restraining order is scheduled to be filed on January 3rd, immediately after the New Year holiday. It would force me to leave the apartment, forfeit any claim to the money I've spent, and potentially face criminal charges if Amanda claims I violated the order's terms. Her journal, kept in a password-protected document on her laptop, reveals the full scope of her contempt. Entries from the past several months describe me as her personal ATM, and detail her amusement at how easy it's been to milk my bleeding heart brother for everything. One entry from November reads, "Dave is so pathetically grateful for family approval that he'll pay any price to feel needed. Every time he hands over rent money, he gets this satisfied look like he's accomplished something meaningful. If he only knew how little I think of his sacrifice." Another entry from December describes her strategy with our parents. "The key to managing mom and dad is giving them someone to blame for my situation. They need to believe I'm a victim of circumstances, not choices. Dave makes the perfect scapegoat because he's always been their golden boy. They want to believe he's fallen from grace." The final entry, written on Christmas Eve, reveals her endgame. "Tomorrow I'll play the devastated sister role perfectly." By New Year's, Dave will be completely isolated from the family and facing legal consequences for his abuse. The restraining order will force him out, and I'll finally have the apartment to myself, with a substantial savings account to start fresh somewhere else. Amanda isn't just stealing my money. She's systematically destroying my life while planning to frame me for crimes I never committed. This isn't a sister who made mistakes or poor choices. This is a calculated predator who's been playing a long-term game with my heart and my future. The evidence is overwhelming, but I need to be smart about how I use it. Amanda has spent months positioning herself as the victim, and our parents are completely convinced of her version of reality. Simply presenting facts won't be enough if she can claim I'm harassing or intimidating her. I need a strategy that exposes her lies while protecting myself from the false accusations she's preparing to file. Amanda wants to play victim. I'll give her an audience she never expected. Rather than rushing into confrontation driven by anger, I channel my engineering background into systematic planning. Amanda has built her deception on the assumption that I'm naive and predictable. But she's miscalculated badly. I don't just want to expose her lies. I want to ensure she faces real consequences while protecting myself from her planned retaliation. My first call is to Marcus Thompson, a friend from college, who became a criminal defense attorney. We've stayed close over the years, and I trust him completely. Marcus listens to my situation with growing amazement, taking notes as I describe Amanda's fraud campaign's benefit scams and planned restraining order. "Dave, your sister isn't just lying to your family," Marcus says when I finish explaining. "She's committed multiple felonies: wire fraud, identity theft, benefit fraud, filing false reports. We're talking about serious federal charges if prosecutors decide to pursue this." Marcus advises me to document everything meticulously, while avoiding any actions that could support Amanda's claims of harassment or intimidation. He helps me understand the legal framework around apartment leases and tenant rights, confirming that as the co-signer who's been paying all expenses, I have every right to remove Amanda from the property. The key is following proper legal procedures. Marcus explains, "You can't just change the locks and throw her stuff out even though she's been defrauding you. But you can terminate her occupancy through the property management company if you follow state guidelines." We develop a comprehensive plan that addresses both the immediate situation and the broader pattern of Amanda's criminal behavior. Marcus agrees to be on standby during the confrontation and to represent me if Amanda follows through with her false restraining order. My next step involves the apartment itself. As the primary leaseholder and sole financial contributor, I have rights that Amanda has been counting on me not to exercise. I contact the property management company and explain my situation to the supervisor, Janet Morrison. Janet has been in property management for 15 years and has seen similar situations before. She reviews our lease agreement, noting that I'm listed as the primary tenant with Amanda, as an additional occupant. Since I've been the only one making payments, the lease is effectively mine. Your sister has been in violation of lease terms if she's been conducting business from the apartment without authorization. Janet explains, referring to Amanda's crowdfunding scams and benefit fraud. We can issue a notice to vacate based on those violations independent of any personal disputes between you. Janet agrees to process the paperwork for Amanda's removal, providing the legally required 48 hours notice, while supporting my right to remain in the apartment. The notice will be official and indisputable, protecting me from claims that I've illegally evicted her. But exposing Amanda's lies to our parents requires a more delicate approach. Simply presenting evidence won't be enough if they're emotionally invested in her victim narrative. I need a setting where the truth emerges naturally, without giving Amanda time to prepare new lies or claim harassment. I arrange what appears to be a reconciliation dinner through our cousin Jenny, who's always been suspicious of Amanda's dramatic stories. Jenny is perceptive and independent-minded, someone our parents respect, but who isn't easily manipulated. I've been wondering about some inconsistencies in Amanda's situation, Jenny admits when I contact her. She's been posting photos from expensive restaurants while claiming she can barely afford food. Something doesn't add up. Jenny agrees to host a family dinner on New Year's Eve, framing it as a chance for everyone to start the year fresh. She'll invite our Aunt Patricia and Uncle Stephen, creating a larger family gathering that Amanda can't control or avoid. The expanded group will make it harder for Amanda to manage her narrative. Installing security cameras in the apartment's common areas provides crucial documentation of Amanda's actual behavior versus her claims. Since I'm on the lease and paying all expenses, I have every right to monitor the property. The cameras capture Amanda's real lifestyle. Expensive food deliveries, constant visitors, and behavior that contradicts her stories of depression and isolation. Most importantly, I prepare multiple evidence packets for different audiences. Our parents need to see financial records and the fake crowdfunding campaigns. The authorities need documentation of benefit fraud and identity theft. Amanda's victims need proof that their donations went to fictional causes. I also contact several of Amanda's crowdfunding victims, directly explaining the situation and providing evidence of her deception. Carol Henderson, who donated $200 for the fake dog surgery, agrees to confront Amanda in person. Two other victims, Robert Chen and Maria Gonzalez, decide to file police reports and join potential civil litigation. The most crucial element of my strategy involves Amanda's own words. Her journal entries and email drafts provide undeniable proof of her intentional deception and contempt for everyone she's manipulated. These aren't misunderstandings or poor choices. They're clear evidence of calculated malice. By December 31st, everything is in place. The property management company has prepared Amanda's eviction notice. The security cameras have documented her actual behavior. The evidence packets are organized and ready for multiple audiences. Marcus is standing by to provide legal protection. Amanda's victims are prepared to confront her directly. Most importantly, I've notified the appropriate authorities about her various fraudulent activities. The unemployment office has received documentation of her benefit fraud. The crowdfunding platforms have been alerted to her fake campaigns. The Postal Service has been informed about her mail fraud. Amanda has spent months systematically destroying my reputation and relationships while building her criminal enterprise on the foundation of my generosity. She's planned my complete humiliation and legal destruction while stealing thousands of dollars and breaking multiple federal laws. But Amanda made one fatal miscalculation. She assumed I'd remain passive and trusting indefinitely, never investigating or fighting back. She saw my kindness as weakness and my love for family as exploitable vulnerability. Tomorrow night at Jenny's dinner, Amanda will discover exactly how wrong she's been about her bleeding heart brother. Every lie she's told will unravel in front of the family she's been manipulating. Every dollar she's stolen will be accounted for and documented. Every law she's broken will have consequences. Amanda wanted to play victim while destroying my life perfect. I'll give her an audience for the performance of a lifetime, and when the curtain falls, everyone will finally see who the real victim has been. Jenny's house feels warm and inviting as family members arrive for what everyone expects to be a pleasant New Year's Eve dinner. Our parents arrive first, followed by our Aunt Patricia and Uncle Stephen. Amanda arrives fashionably late, wearing a new dress that probably cost more than most people spend on groceries in a month. I arrive last, carrying a bottle of wine and appearing completely relaxed. Amanda looks pleased to see me, probably interpreting my presence as surrender to her narrative. She has no idea that I've spent the past week preparing for this moment with the precision of a software engineer debugging critical code. "Dave," Amanda exclaims, giving me a performance-worthy hug in front of our parents. "I'm so glad you could make it. Family should be together for the holidays." The irony of her words hangs in the air like smoke. I return her hug warmly, playing my own role in what she believes is her final manipulation. Dinner conversation flows naturally at first. Jenny has prepared an excellent meal, and our relatives share updates about their lives and careers. Amanda expertly steers conversation toward her struggles, painting herself as someone bravely rebuilding after Marcus's betrayal. "It's been such a difficult year," Amanda says, dabbing her eyes with a napkin. "But having family support makes all the difference. Dave has been staying with me, and even though it's crowded, I'm grateful for the company during this tough time." Our mother Sarah nods sympathetically. Amanda has been so generous letting you stay there rent-free while you figure things out. The opening arrives exactly as I expected. I reach into my jacket pocket and withdraw a folder of bank statements, setting them casually on the table. Actually, Mom, there might be some confusion about our living arrangement, I say gently. I've been paying all the rent since April. Here are the bank records showing $1,500 monthly to the property management company. Amanda's face flickers momentarily, but she recovers quickly. Dave, you don't need to embarrass yourself by showing everyone your financial contributions. Family doesn't keep score like that. You're absolutely right. I agree. Families shouldn't keep score. But when someone claims I'm living rent-free, accuracy becomes important. Our father Robert examines the bank statements, his expression shifting from skepticism to confusion. These show substantial payments, Dave. But Amanda said you weren't contributing financially. There must be some misunderstanding, Amanda says smoothly. Dave helps with some expenses, but he's been quite demanding about it. Sometimes he makes me feel guilty for accepting his help, like I owe him something beyond gratitude. I nod, understandingly. Speaking of financial contributions, Amanda, how is your job search going? You mentioned that interview last week. Still waiting to hear back, Amanda replies. The market is really competitive right now. Companies are taking forever to make decisions. Our cousin Jenny enters the conversation with perfect timing. That's interesting because I saw some of your fundraising posts online, the ones where you're raising money for Mom's cancer treatment. The table falls silent. Our Aunt Patricia looks confused. Cancer treatment. Sarah, you didn't mention being sick. Our mother, Sarah, laughs nervously. I'm not sick. I just had my physical last month. Everything was perfect. Jenny continues innocently. Oh, maybe I misunderstood. Let me find the post. She pulls out her phone and reads aloud from Amanda's GoFundMe campaign. My beloved mother is facing an unexpected cancer diagnosis, and our family is struggling with the cost of treatment. Any contribution helps during this devastating time. The silence becomes deafening. Amanda's face drains of color as she stares at Jenny's phone screen. That's impossible, our Uncle Stephen says firmly. Sarah, you would have told us if you were dealing with cancer. I don't understand, our mother says, looking directly at Amanda. Why would someone be fundraising for my cancer treatment when I'm perfectly healthy? Before Amanda can respond, the doorbell rings. Jenny goes to answer it, returning with 3 people I recognize from my research: Carol Henderson, Robert Chen, and Maria Gonzalez. I'm sorry to interrupt your dinner, Carol says politely, but we received a message about Amanda Coleman and some fundraising campaigns. We donated money for various causes, and recently learned they might not have been legitimate. Amanda stands abruptly. I don't know who these people are or what they want, but this is harassment. We're the people who donated to your dog's surgery, Maria explains. $2,000 to help Bella recover from her accident. We'd like to meet Bella and see how she's doing. And we contributed to your laptop replacement fund, Robert adds. We were hoping to hear how the new computer is working out for your freelance business. Our parents look completely bewildered. Amanda doesn't have a dog, our mother says slowly. She's allergic, and what laptop her computer is working fine. Amanda's carefully constructed facade begins cracking like ice under pressure. These people are confused. They must have me mixed up with someone else. I reach for my phone and pull up screenshots of Amanda's fake crowdfunding campaigns. Actually, these are the exact campaigns Jenny mentioned. Same photos, same name, same stories about Mom's cancer, the dog surgery, and the laptop theft. Huh. How did you get those? Amanda demands, her voice rising. The same way I found your secret bank account with $18,000, I respond calmly. The same way I discovered your unemployment fraud and your planned restraining order. The room erupts in shocked voices. Our father Robert demands to see the evidence. Our Aunt Patricia asks pointed questions about the money. Carol, Robert, and Maria begin comparing notes about their donations to Amanda's various fictional emergencies. But the final blow comes when I produce printed excerpts from Amanda's journal, reading her own words aloud. Dave is so pathetically grateful for family approval that he'll pay any price to feel needed. Every time he hands over rent money, he gets this satisfied look like he's accomplished something meaningful. Our mother's face transforms from confusion to horror. Amanda, did you write this? Those are private thoughts taken out of context. Amanda protests. Dave invaded my privacy and twisted my words. What about this entry? I continue reading. The key to managing mom and dad is giving them someone to blame for my situation. They need to believe I'm a victim of circumstances, not choices. Dave makes the perfect scapegoat. Our father Robert stands up, his face flushed with anger. Are you telling us that everything you've said about Dave has been lies? Amanda tries one final manipulation. I'm the victim here. Dave has been controlling and abusive, and now he's trying to turn everyone against me because I threatened to expose his behavior. But the evidence is overwhelming. Bank records, fraudulent campaigns, secret savings accounts, benefit fraud, and her own written words describing months of deliberate deception. Carol shows everyone the fake photos Amanda used for the dog surgery campaign. Maria produces Amanda's emails claiming laptop theft, while her actual laptop sits in full view. The most damaging moment comes when I read Amanda's final journal entry. By New Year's, Dave will be completely isolated from the family and facing legal consequences for his abuse. The restraining order will force him out, and I'll finally have the apartment to myself with a substantial savings account to start fresh. Our parents look at Amanda with expressions of shock and betrayal that mirror everything I felt Christmas morning. They realize they've been turned against their son by a daughter who viewed their love as a tool for manipulation. Get out, our father says quietly. Get out of this house right now. Amanda makes one last desperate attempt. I can explain everything if you'll just listen. Dave is manipulating all of you the same way he manipulated me. But the room has turned completely against her. Our mother is crying not from sympathy for Amanda, but from grief over what her daughter has become. Our aunt and uncle stare at Amanda like she's a stranger. Carol, Robert, and Maria are discussing police reports and civil litigation. Amanda storms out screaming threats and accusations that only make her look more unstable. Her final words before slamming the door, "You'll all regret believing his lies." The silence after she leaves feels heavy with revelation and regret. Our parents apologize, repeatedly horrified by how completely they were manipulated. Our relatives express amazement at the scope of Amanda's deception. But the evening ends with something unexpected, our family coming together around the truth instead of lies. For the first time in months, I feel like I have my family back, even though the cost has been learning who my sister really is. New Year's Day arrives with the crisp clarity that only comes after a storm has finally passed. I wake up early in the apartment I've been paying for, knowing this will be Amanda's last day here, whether she cooperates or not. The property management company's eviction notice is legally binding, and I've followed every procedure correctly. At exactly 9 in the morning, Amanda's key fails to turn the lock. I changed it at 8:30 after receiving confirmation from Janet Morrison that all paperwork had been properly filed and served. 2 gift-wrapped boxes sit beside the door containing everything Amanda needs to transition out of my life. The first box, slightly larger and moving occasionally, contains Einstein Amanda's pet hamster. Despite everything she's done, I'm not cruel to innocent animals. Einstein's habitat. Food, water bottles, and toys are carefully packed alongside him. The movement that catches Amanda's attention comes from Einstein exploring his temporary travel environment. The second box contains Amanda's essential documents: passport, birth certificate, social security card, driver's license, and important financial records. I've also included enough clothing for several days and a printed letter explaining the legal situation and her options going forward. Amanda's reaction is predictably dramatic. She pounds on the door, shouting threats and demands that echo through the hallway. When that fails, she calls the police claiming I've illegally locked her out of her apartment. Officer Williams arrives within 20 minutes, a patient professional who's clearly dealt with similar disputes before. Amanda immediately launches into her victim performance, claiming I've stolen her home and possessions while she was visiting family for New Year's. "Ma'am, can you show me documentation proving this is your apartment?" Officer Williams asks. Amanda falters. "Well, it's complicated. My brother and I have an arrangement." "I see. And do you have your name on the lease?" "Not exactly, but I've been living here for months." Officer Williams turns to me. "Sir, can you provide documentation of your legal right to this property?" I hand him the lease agreement showing my name as primary tenant bank records, proving I've paid all rent and utilities, and the property management company's eviction notice properly served on Amanda. Everything is legal, documented, and indisputable. "Ach, ma'am," Officer Williams explains to Amanda. "According to these documents, you have no legal claim to this apartment. The property owner has followed proper procedures for ending your occupancy. I cannot force entry to a residence you don't legally control." Amanda tries a different approach. "But officer, my brother has been abusive and controlling. I was planning to file a restraining order because I fear for my safety." Officer Williams looks at the journal excerpts I've brought showing Amanda's own written plans to file false accusations. "Ma'am, filing false reports is a serious crime. Based on this evidence, it appears you've been planning to make untrue claims. I strongly advise you to reconsider any false statements." The officer's warning deflates Amanda's final manipulation attempt. She's trapped by her own documented lies, unable to claim victimhood, when her journal clearly shows premeditation and malice. By noon, our parents arrive to help Amanda collect her belongings. The 3-hour time window I've provided allows her to pack everything personal while supervised by Officer Williams, ensuring no false claims of theft or property damage. The reunion between Amanda and our parents is awkward and painful. Dad refuses to make eye contact with her. Mom helps pack clothes while quietly crying. Amanda's attempts at explanation fall flat because everyone now knows the scope of her deception. "I was going through a difficult time," Amanda pleads. "I made some poor choices, but I never meant to hurt anyone." Our father Robert responds coldly. "Amanda, we read your journal entries. You called us suckers and planned to frame your brother for crimes he never committed. This wasn't poor judgment. This was calculated cruelty." The most revealing moment comes when Amanda finds her secret bank statements among her papers. She didn't realize I discovered her hidden account, and seeing $18,000 documented destroys any remaining claim of financial desperation. "You saved every penny Dave gave you," our mother says incredulously. "While he sacrificed his savings to help you, you were building a nest egg through lies and theft." Amanda's final manipulation attempt targets me directly. "Dave, I know I made mistakes, but we're family. Surely we can work this out without involving lawyers and police reports." I look at my sister, this person who systematically destroyed my relationships while stealing my money and planning my legal destruction, and feel nothing but exhausted sadness. "Amanda, you didn't make mistakes. You planned every lie, every manipulation, every betrayal. You called me your personal ATM in your own journal. Family doesn't intentionally destroy each other." By evening, Amanda's belongings are packed and loaded into our parents' car. She has 48 hours to find alternative housing, a task made challenging by her damaged credit and the upcoming criminal charges Marcus has helped me file. Before leaving, Amanda tries one final appeal to our parents. "When Dave's lies are exposed and this all falls apart, remember that I tried to warn you about his manipulative behavior. But our parents have seen too much evidence, read too many of Amanda's own words, and witnessed too many contradictions to be swayed by additional manipulation. Amanda. Our mother says firmly, "We love you, but we cannot support or enable your behavior anymore. You need professional help, and you need to face consequences for your actions." Our father adds, "Until you're ready to take responsibility for what you've done and make genuine amends, you're not welcome in our home." As their car pulls away, I feel a complex mixture of relief, sadness, and vindication. Amanda is gone, but the cost has been enormous. Trust shattered, relationships damaged, and the painful knowledge that someone I loved unconditionally viewed that love as weakness to exploit. The apartment feels different without Amanda's chaotic energy. But it also feels peaceful for the first time in months. I've reclaimed my space, my dignity, and my family relationships. But the victory comes with hard-earned wisdom about the difference between helping and enabling. That night, I call Marcus to update him on the day's events and discuss next steps for the criminal charges and civil litigation. Amanda's victims deserve justice, and her fraudulent activities need consequences beyond simple eviction. Tomorrow, I'll begin rebuilding the life I put on hold to help someone who never deserved my sacrifice. But tonight, for the first time in months, I sleep peacefully in my own home, knowing that the truth has finally set everyone free. 3 months later, I barely recognize the person I was on Christmas morning. The apartment that once felt like a prison of manipulation has become a sanctuary of independence and self-respect. I've redecorated, completely replacing every piece of furniture that carries memories of Amanda's deception with items that reflect my own taste and values. The transformation goes far deeper than interior design. For the first time since college, I feel like I control my own life again. My savings account depleted by months of funding. Amanda's schemes is slowly rebuilding thanks to my promotion at TechFlow Solutions. My manager, Christine Rodriguez, noticed the dramatic improvement in my work performance once the stress of Amanda's situation ended. "You seem like a completely different person," Christine observed during my performance review. "More focused, more confident, more decisive. Whatever changes you made in your personal life are clearly working. My relationship with our parents has healed in ways I never expected." The family therapy sessions Dr. Elizabeth Harper recommended have given us tools to discuss the manipulation we all experienced and rebuild trust on a healthier foundation. Amanda exploited our family's greatest strength. Dad reflected during one session, "We love unconditionally and want to support each other. She weaponized that love against all of us." Mom has struggled the most with guilt over her treatment of me. "I should have known better," she says repeatedly. A mother should be able to tell when one child is manipulating her against another. But Dr. Harper helps us understand that sophisticated manipulation works precisely because it exploits our best intentions. Amanda studied what each of you valued most and used those values against you. Dave's generosity. Your parental desire to see your children succeed. Everyone's natural inclination to believe family members. Recognizing manipulation requires skills most people never develop. The legal consequences for Amanda have been substantial, but fair. The fraud charges resulted in 18 months probation, mandatory restitution to her crowdfunding victims, and community service. The unemployment benefit fraud triggered additional financial penalties and permanent exclusion from future benefits. Most importantly, Amanda was required to undergo psychological evaluation and counseling. Dr. Richard Stanton's assessment identified antisocial personality traits and recommended long-term therapy to address her manipulative behavior patterns. Amanda moved to Phoenix after the legal proceedings concluded, taking a legitimate job as a restaurant manager and beginning the slow process of rebuilding her life honestly. She's maintained minimal contact with the family, sending occasional brief emails that suggest she's beginning to understand the severity of her actions. 6 months after the New Year's revelation, Amanda sent me a handwritten letter that represents the first genuine communication we've had since her departure. Dave, I know this letter can't undo the pain I caused or repay the money I stole. I've been working with Dr. Martinez here in Phoenix, and I'm starting to understand how twisted my thinking became. You deserved a sister who appreciated your generosity, not someone who saw it as weakness to exploit. I'm not asking for forgiveness because I don't deserve it yet. But I want you to know that your kindness wasn't wasted, even though I perverted it into something ugly. Someday, maybe years from now, I hope to become someone worthy of the brother you were to me. The letter moved me not because it changed anything fundamental, but because it suggested Amanda might finally be developing genuine remorse rather than strategic manipulation. I haven't responded yet, and I'm not sure I will, but I keep it as evidence that people can change if they face real consequences and commit to honest self-examination. My personal life has flourished in ways I never anticipated. Dating became possible again once I wasn't constantly worried about Amanda's financial or emotional crises. I met Rachel Winters at a software development conference in March, and our relationship has grown steadily, based on mutual respect and honest communication. Rachel knows the full story of what happened with Amanda, and her perspective has helped me understand important lessons about boundaries and enabling behavior. You have such a generous heart, she told me after I explained my family situation. But generosity without boundaries isn't kindness. It's actually cruel because it prevents people from learning to solve their own problems. Perhaps the most valuable change has been my relationship with our cousin Jenny, who played such a crucial role in exposing Amanda's lies. Jenny and I have grown closer through shared understanding of how manipulation works within families. I always suspected something wasn't right with Amanda's stories, Jenny confided. But questioning family members feels disloyal even when your instincts scream that something is wrong. Your situation taught me to trust my observations instead of making excuses for behavior that doesn't make sense. The financial recovery took time, but proved surprisingly manageable. Amanda's restitution payments cover a portion of what she stole, though I'll never recover everything I lost. More importantly, I've rebuilt my savings using the budgeting skills I developed while supporting 2 people on one income. The apartment lease expires next month, and I've decided to move to a 1-bedroom place downtown closer to work and the life I want to build. The Lakewood apartment served its purpose as a place to rebuild and recover, but it's time to move forward completely. My work on Amanda's case also led to an unexpected career opportunity. Marcus Thompson offered me a position as a cybersecurity consultant for his law firm, helping attorneys investigate financial fraud and digital evidence. The work combines my technical skills with my hard-earned understanding of manipulation tactics, creating a career path I never would have considered before this experience. The most profound change has been my understanding of what family truly means. Real family support involves holding each other accountable, not enabling destructive behavior. Love without boundaries isn't actually love. It's codependence that hurts everyone involved. When our extended family gathered for Thanksgiving, the conversation naturally turned to lessons learned from Amanda's situation. Our Aunt Patricia shared her own story of being manipulated by a friend who exploited her charitable nature. Our Uncle Stephen discussed workplace situations where he'd enabled problematic employees instead of addressing issues directly. Amanda's situation taught all of us about the difference between helping and enabling what our mother reflected. True love sometimes means saying no, setting boundaries, and allowing people to face consequences for their choices. As I finish telling this story, I want to leave you with the most important lesson I learned. Generosity is beautiful, but it must be coupled with wisdom. Helping family members through genuine hardship is one of life's greatest privileges. But enabling someone's destructive behavior isn't helping them. It's participating in their self-destruction. The hardest truth I discovered is that some people will exploit kindness as weakness, love as vulnerability. and trust as opportunity. Protecting yourself from manipulation isn't selfish. It's necessary for maintaining the emotional health that allows you to genuinely help people who deserve support. Family isn't just about unconditional love. It's about unconditional truth, unconditional accountability, and the courage to confront difficult realities even when they're painful. Amanda taught me that sometimes the most loving thing you can do for someone is refuse to enable their worst impulses. Today, I have healthy relationships built on mutual respect, a career that fulfills me financial stability, and the hard-earned wisdom to recognize manipulation before it destroys my life. The cost was enormous, but the education has been invaluable. Sometimes the people we love most need us to stop helping them and start believing they're capable of helping themselves. Sometimes saying no is the most generous thing we can do. I want to ask you something that connects to this story's heart. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where your generosity was being exploited by someone you trusted? How do you balance helping family with protecting yourself from manipulation? Share your thoughts in the comments because these conversations help all of us learn to navigate complex family dynamics with wisdom and compassion. If this story resonated with you, please like this video to help others find these important messages about family boundaries and healthy relationships. Consider subscribing for more stories about overcoming manipulation and building authentic connections. And please share this with anyone who might benefit from understanding the difference between helping and enabling. Thank you for listening to my story and for being part of a community that believes in truth, accountability, and genuine love. Remember that your kindness is precious, but so are you. Protect both. Until next time, may you find the wisdom to help others without losing yourself, and the courage to love people enough to let them face the consequences of their choices.